Well, here's a list. University of Florida, protect the panther, protect wild dolphins, protect the sea turtles. Florida State, protect the manatees, protect our reefs. U.S. Marine Corps, protect the University of Miami, share the road, U.S. Army, a lot of stuff here. Jacksonville Jaguars, keep kids drug-free, and then I Believe. But the interesting thing about the I Believe is it came with a cross and a stained glass window.
That's correct.
Which to me indicates that the perception would clearly be that the state of Florida might be endorsing Christianity when maybe the state of Florida should remain neutral on matters of religion.
Right, and not only that, but the state of Florida is going to get into a slippery slope situation very soon, because what happens when, say, an atheist group decides to get the signatures and the money together to have an I Don't Believe license plate, which the First Coast Freethought Society would never do? What happens when the Ku Klux Klan wants to have a picture of a gentleman with a white hood on the license plate? What happens when the neo-Nazis want to have a swastika on a license plate and they get the necessary signatures and the necessary funds to do this? According to what the state has outlined, that's all you have to do is have the funds and the signatures and you can get your plate. So if you don't get your plate, are they setting themselves up for a lawsuit?
They may be, if they want to edit or censor based on content. Now, we haven't had that challenge yet, but that's the road they could go down. And
that's where they're going.
And that remains to be seen. But apparently that I Believe plate is not going to come to fruition, at least not at this point in time.
Not now.
Now let's get back to this Blaine amendment. We're going to talk a little bit about this. The Florida Taxation and Budget Reform Commission is a group of 27 people, I believe, who meet once every 20 years, have an awful lot of power, have the ability to put amendments on the ballot that the state legislature can't get. We have all the people in Tallahassee struggling and bickering and dickering about what should go into this ballot relative to Florida amendments. And then we have these 27 people who come around and can come to an agreement or a consensus a lot quicker than the entire state body and the legislature. And they have put 7 of the 9 amendments in November on November's ballot. One of those amendments is the amendment of what we refer to as the Blaine Amendment, which I read at the top of the program, where it says specifically that no revenue of the state or any political subdivision or agency thereof shall ever be taken from the public treasury directly or indirectly in aid of any church, sect, or religious denomination or in aid of any sectarian institution. It's on the screen now, and you can see what I just read is going to be struck. The words above that, an individual or entity that is underlined, an individual or entity may not be barred from participating in any public program because of religion. That's what the Florida Taxation and Budget Reform Commission wants on our November ballot. Take 60% of the people to vote in favor of this revision of the Blaine Amendment. Now, question to you, Earl, president of the First Coast Freethought Society. Is this a good thing?
No, it's not a good thing. Using tax dollars to support sectarian activities has been a bad thing for a long time. That's why the founders or the framers of our Constitution included as the very first amendment to our Constitution the religious clause. It was there for a specific reason, and it was there as the very first one for a specific reason, because they had, as do all of us, we all have historical data that shows what happens when a state and a church, a government and a church, get together and start doing business together. It goes down a road that we don't want to go down anymore.
Well, we've been down that road. And we have empirical evidence as to what happens. I mean, that's one of the reasons we came to these shores and founded a country. Right.
We ran away from religious prosecution, and then a lot of the colonies, I believe 11 out of 13, had a lot of religious bigotry and a lot of religious problems because of the entanglement with religion and state.
Right. We're going to take a short break, Earl. We're about halfway through the program. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the Blaine Amendment, religious freedom, and freedom of religion, freedom from religion. You're watching a program called Civil Discourse. My name is Ken Hurley. This program is sponsored by the American Civil Liberties Union of Florida, the Northeast Florida chapter. Take a look at this. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Civil Discourse. My name is Ken Hurley. This program is sponsored by the American Civil Liberties Union of Northeast Florida, and we're talking about the Blaine Amendment, religious freedom. And we're talking with Earl Coggins, the president and founder of the First Coast Freethought Society in Jacksonville. He's also the vice president of the AU, the Americans United for Separation of Church and State in Jacksonville. So Earl, the Blaine Amendment, one of the reasons that folks are interested in repealing this amendment or amending the amendment, changing it as we've been talking about, is that the voucher case that was lost by the state of Florida, an ACLU case, Bush versus Holmes, kind of peeved them a bit. Would you agree?
I agree, and I think that after that happened, they had to come up with a plan, and they knew that step one was going to be to alter our Constitution, because we have language in there very similar to the Blaine Amendment. It's not verbatim Blaine Amendment, but it's in there, and they're going to have to get rid of it, and now that's what we see. Step one is occurring right now with people trying to alter our state Constitution to give money, tax money, to religious organizations.
Right. Now, beyond the Blaine Amendment, and this is number 7 on the ballot, and you vote however you like, but if you're in doubt on amendments, the rule of thumb is to vote no on amendments, because most of the time the amendment is not something we want to put into the Constitution. We have too many things in our Constitution. I believe this is a particularly good amendment. Rule of thumb is vote no, and you might want to consider voting no on all of the amendments.
Well, my comment on that is, if it's not broke, why fix it? The First Amendment to our federal Constitution, the religious clause, states plainly and clearly how this government should operate when it comes to state-church entanglement. So, yeah, to modify our Constitution is going down the wrong road.
Right. Now, let's talk about science curriculum. The state of Florida just went through a whole series of hearings and a process to decide what the science curriculum is going to be.
Yes.
And one of the lightning rods is this word, evolution.
That is correct.
Do you have any thoughts on the word evolution and the science curriculum, Earl?
Yes, I do, and so do a lot of organizations similar to the Freethought Society. This is more of the same. The people who are behind altering our Constitution to give aid to sectarian causes, friends of theirs are also behind this evolution thing in public schools. We've seen it in Pennsylvania, we've seen it in Kansas, we just went through it in Florida, and if you do a root cause analysis of this, or if you ask the question, why is it that you have members of the religious right wanting to eliminate evolution from our classrooms? Well, because evolution says we evolved from lower forms of life. And if that's correct, then the biblical story of Adam and Eve is incorrect. And if that's incorrect, then that means the Bible is subject to analysis, critical analysis, to see what's right and what's wrong. And according to a lot of people, the Bible is inerrant. It can't be wrong because it's the Word of God. And if the Word of God is wrong, then what happens? Then the bottom falls out of a couple of religions. And that's high stakes. And I believe that that's really what's going on here. That's the elephant on the table. It has nothing to do with science as far as creationism or intelligent design being a better theory than evolution.
Well, to not teach it is not what they were actually advocating. They just wanted to advocate the ability to suggest that evolution has not been a proven theory and that it could be challenged and that no one would be punished should they challenge the theory.
Correct.
But that speaks to the word theory. And the way that is set up, you want to speak to that?
Well, it depends on who
you
are.
Disprove theories.
Yeah, if you're a scientist, the word theory is the best available information at the time. A lot of people say, oh, well, why don't you call it a law? Yes, we do call certain things laws. The law of gravity. Why isn't evolution a law? Well, as far as most biologists are concerned, it is a law.
Well, this Evolution Academic Freedom Act